We came here to Detroit to cover a football game. We got almost a basketball score instead. I'm Jonathan Acosta, joined back in studio by our Channel 2 Bills insider, Vic Carucci. Vic, last week the Bills played in the highest scoring game of the season to that point in a loss to the Rams. This week they play in what is now the highest scoring game of the season. This time they come out on the winning side, 48-42. Yet another spectacular performance from Josh Allen. And Vic, it seems like we're starting to sort of run out of superlatives for the way he's playing right now.
It's crazy to think that this guy can continue to build on his own history-making performance. He just makes new history, I guess, every week. But yeah, it's a treat to watch. I'd say even if you're not a Bills fan and you just like watching spectacular football and spectacular play that goes beyond, you know, a quarterback throwing the football well and making plays with his arm. This guy, of course, doing it with his feet and doing it in moments, you know, these critical moments of games that just gives you that sense that whenever he's on the field, something good's going to happen and that this team always has a chance to win. If we look at the big picture of their record, their success, we know there are flaws, especially on the defensive side for sure. We've seen them this season. We have not seen flaws with Josh Allen. We've seen greatness upon greatness upon greatness. And honestly, as long as I've been watching this game, Jonathan, I can truly say I've never seen anything like it.
And Allen now has what is finally a healthy, full stable of weapons. Amari Cooper, Keon Coleman returned to this game. Dalton Kincaid back in action for this game as well. You have the running backs. This is Bills offense that had 559 total yards, over 300 passing yards, 197 on the ground. We came into this game thinking that we'd maybe be talking about the Lions ground game. They got held to under 100 yards. We're going to get to the Bills defense in a sec. But the Bills ground game really got going. So this Allen performance sort of fits within the bigger context of how Joe Brady has this Bills offense sort of firing on all cylinders right now. Wouldn't you agree?
It's crazy to see how well this offense performs with or without all of the pieces in place. But when they have all those pieces in place, it certainly gives Joe Brady, as offensive coordinator, more opportunity to do different things and create and be creative, as I think he was with, you know, his game plan and play calling. And the thing that blows me away is taking Ty Johnson, a running back, and who saw going into this game, this guy, you know, being a top receiving target for Josh Allen and making, I mean, big plays catching the football as a running back. Certainly the Lions did not look like a team that was prepared to see that because, frankly, you know, we've seen Ty Johnson do some good things during the year, but nothing that I think would have caught enough of the attention of Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, and that defensive staff to say, yeah, we better have a big plan to deal with this guy. No, and that's telling and I think reflective of a team that, a Bills team that knows how to maximize what it has. And I think we saw that in a great way in a game like this. And of course, Khalil Shakir was another big factor, but he's been that guy right along. And they still, even knowing that he was there, the Lions defensively didn't have a whole lot of answers for him either.
Offenses evolved throughout this season. We sort of saw it last year with the way Khalil Shakir really came on in the second half of the season. Starting to feel a little bit that way about Ty Johnson because we saw sort of an inkling of this coming last week in LA. The Bills finally hit a couple of screen passes, both of them to Ty Johnson. He had that big touchdown catch against the Rams. And then he sort of builds off of that here in Detroit. So I wonder if this is a presence in this offense that's going to continue. Back to Josh Allen for a sec, because he's now led the Bills to 40-plus points in consecutive games for just the third time in franchise history. The Bills are just one of a handful of teams in NFL history with 30-plus points in 8 straight games. Sean McDermott was asked after the game if this is the best he's seen Josh Allen play in his career. And he said yes. Vic, is this the best that you've seen Josh Allen play in his career? And do you think he has almost all but wrapped up the MVP award for this season?
Well, without a doubt, this is the very best version of Josh Allen we've seen. And we've seen Josh Allen play well enough, certainly, to open that Super Bowl contention window a few years ago. I mean, this is not a new thing to see Josh playing extremely well, but he has upped himself. He has outdone himself with the way he has performed this year. You feel when you watch him like everything has come together. The way he sees the game, the instincts that he is showing, the knowledge that he is showing in terms of understanding where the defensive weaknesses are. And again, I credit the offensive coordinator, Joe Brady, for helping with this in a big way, designing a scheme that allows his quarterback to thrive. But this isn't happening just because of X's and O's, and it isn't happening just because of what opponents might not be doing so well. This is intentional. This is Josh Allen maximizing, again, everything he has physically, and it's a lot. He's freakish. Let's face it, he is a freak. He is a big, strong, fast athlete who has a great passing arm, who has the ability to run as well as really any back. And when teams are in man coverage, which was often the case with the Lions, they like to do that. What are the defenders doing, Jonathan? They're turning their back to him. And when their backs are turned, boom, he instantly knows that's his cue to move and run. And then they get close to the goal line, and Josh is going to power his way into the end zone. Or maybe run from a distance to get in the end zone. You name it, he can do it.
And he's doing all of this, putting up all of these points, all of these yards, without really turning the football over. I think he's still only at 5 interceptions this season, no turnovers in either of these past 2 games, where the Bills have had to be that efficient on offense in order to keep up or stay ahead of the other team as they did so against Detroit. So honestly, incredible football that we're seeing right now from Josh Allen. Over to the defense, and a game where they were coming off giving up 37 points defensively, 44 points overall to the Rams, and you felt like this game was sort of kind of go that same way because of the offense that they're going up against in the Detroit Lions, the top scoring offense in the NFL, right around 32 points per game coming into this one. But I thought at least in the first half, considering the injuries the Bills had, especially in the secondary, that this Bills defense did a decent job of slowing down this offense that's led by offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. Overall, what were your takeaways from this defense, especially early on where they still had sort of more bodies than they did in the second half, because eventually Cole Bishop got injured in this game, Matt Milano got injured in this game, Dorian Williams was in and out in this game as well.
If you take a look at just the score, just the 42 points allowed, it would feel strange, weird to say that this was a strong defensive effort by the Bills. But you can't really look at it that simply. It does require, I think, a bigger picture and a deeper look at what happened in this game. First of all, the Lions come in as this top scoring team in the league, which had a lot to do with a franchise record 11-game win streak coming into this game. So everybody was praising, and rightfully so, what this Lion team was all about. But largely it started there. And Jared Goff as quarterback and those running backs, and again, big picture, if you look at the stat sheet and see Jared Goff throwing for nearly 500 yards and 5 touchdowns, again, you're going to say it's not really a great defensive effort by the Bills. But honestly, if you dissect and say, okay, through 3 quarters against this team, the better part of 3 quarters, this high-scoring Lions team was held to 14 points. Through much of the first half, there were answers for pretty much everything the Lions were doing offensively by the Bills defense that, as you mentioned, missing some key pieces and would lose more in the course of the game. And I think that's worth noting. I think that's impressive. And then to do what they did against Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery as a duo, such an explosive, such explosive running backs who I think did some things, again, entering this game that you said, there's no way that this Bills defense that has had issues against the run are going to be able to handle. Well, they handled it. They handled it amazingly well and kept those 2 guys in check well enough to allow this to be a win. I mean, on the list of reasons they win this game, we're putting Josh Allen and the Bills' ability to score at the top of that list. But somewhere on the list, is what this defense did to not allow, say, those two backs to take over, take control. And yes, Goff nearly pulled some things out. Those final 12 minutes where 21 Lion points were scored, yeah, that's a tough one to look at and feel comfortable about. And it took the recovery of the onside kick at the end to secure the win. But I still say, Jonathan, that there was more to like about that defense than the Bills' defense than meets the eye.
To your point, Vic, I think there's some nuance with all of this, right? Like, they're playing the top scoring offense in the NFL. The Lions were always going to find a way to score some points. Goff and the Lions offense driving down the field in the fourth quarter, scoring a lot of those touchdowns. A lot of that coming against a very beat-up secondary. Kareem Jackson playing there at safety for the Bills in the second half. And even though Jahmyr Gibbs got going in the second half, that was mostly in the pass game. And to your point, the Bills did an excellent job of stopping the run in the first half. We talked with Daquan Jones during the weekend, and he made it a point to say that the defensive line had taken note of the way people had called out their lack of physicality against the Rams, and that they were going to make that a point of emphasis coming into this game against the Lions, a Lions team that prides itself with its offensive line, being able to run the football, and that sets up the play-action game where Jared Goff has been so successful. The Bills did what they said they were going to do in this game, and I think you noticed that increased level of physicality, especially with Ed Oliver, who had a lot of criticism thrown his way this week, but I think we saw the best game from Oliver that we've seen all season from him here in Detroit.
Yeah, Ed Oliver stepped up in a big way. I thought I think he has had at least one other strong performance, but this one would go down as his best to date. And yeah, it sounded like an absolute response to being called out and being maybe questioned about whatever, his effort or his ability to be disruptive inside. That's his number one role. He was all of that in this game, despite, again, the opponent scoring 42 points.
Vic, let's take a look at the big picture, because the Bills have now taken down the top team in each conference. They beat the Chiefs in Orchard Park by 2 scores. They had a 2-score lead late here against the Lions until a garbage time touchdown with under 20 seconds left to make it a 1-score game. So they've been convincing both times that they've played the top 2 teams considered by many in the NFL. Does this game just give you even more confidence that the Bills can sort of go toe-to-toe with anyone right now or come January as they pursue a trip to New Orleans?
Absolutely. I have full faith that this Bills team, and again, throw in the disclaimer of health, but and the health of particularly one guy, number 17, assuming that the shoulder that needed to be x-rayed was just that, a precautionary thing, as Josh Allen said. And again, we don't always get the full reveal on injuries, but let's assume that he's in one piece and stays in one piece all the way through, and that by and large their health, which I think to some degree, it seems to improve and then decline a bit in the course of games. We'll see what Matt Milano's status is and so forth after as the week progresses. But they're as good as, and if not better than, any of the other teams in the league. I see this as a definite Super Bowl team. I don't know who is stopping the Bills in the AFC. And I have a big problem with those who would say, well, Kansas City, back-to-back Super Bowl winner, and a team that has the best record in the AFC and leads in the race for the number 1 seed, that would be the team because the Bills always lose to them in the postseason. Well, I'm not buying that. Not this version of the Chiefs that, number 1, has been on the brink of losing a lot of games that they find a way to win. And they won another one against the Browns today, but at what price? Because Patrick Mahomes, with this ankle injury that could keep him out of their next game against Houston, they are in a stretch starting with this Cleveland game of 3 games in 11 days. That would have been taxing enough, but add to that their starting quarterback dealing with this ankle injury, that can change a lot that could change everything for their contention status. Baltimore, yeah, good team, and they beat up on the lowly Giants. The Bills have lost to them and had problems with Derrick Henry, their running game. But I'm not sure I'm sold on the idea that Baltimore is not beatable in a rematch with Buffalo. And their defense has some issues. Pittsburgh going down against Philadelphia. What kind of draw would they be in the playoffs? And if they end up playing the Bills in Orchard Park, where I think the Bills show that they have just the ability to be even more dominant. I think they were dominant, of course, on the they've been dominant on the road, but they could be dominant at home, and they have been dominant at home. And I'm not convinced by the Steeler team that they're a team that really should cause a problem or make the Bills worry about what they can or can't do against them. So again, there's a list. We know other teams that fall into the usual suspects. But Jonathan, yeah, they look to me like the best team in the NFL. I think what we saw against the Lions was just that.
The Bills improved to 11-3 with this win in Detroit, and after facing very good offenses and the Rams with a healthy Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua and Matthew Stafford, the Lions here, again, they were the top scoring offense coming into this game. The Bills, there are no easy games in the NFL, but certainly a different sort of matchup looking ahead as they play the Patriots now 2 of the final 3 weeks of the season with the Jets sandwiched in there. All AFC East matchups the rest of the way, and the Bills already have the division locked up. So certainly Bills Mafia and this Bills team feeling very good as they get set to head back to Orchard Park for 2 consecutive home games. For Vic Carucci, I'm Jonathan Acosta for Channel 2 Sports.